sessions. No, it's something that you do have to educate yourself on. You do have to have some experience. Otherwise, you are potentially putting someone in danger.
Okay, but isn't it the case that would be the same thing with dating? That you're going to need experience, and experience over time is going to lead you to making better choices?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Which is exactly why I'm against age gap relationships, because of the experience.
Yeah, but thing is like a 30-year-old man can have as little dating experience as a 22-year-old woman.
True.
So,
That's
you know,
possible.
like, to me, it's so silly because you're not actually saying there's a problem with the age gap. You just look at other contributing factors which could be present in any relationship and then pointing to it as though in an age gap that's assured. And it's not.
It is.
What thing is assured?
Andrew Wilson air fries this delusional feminist in a heated debate on whatever podcast. As this woke feminist argues, Andrew Wilson complaining about age gap, yet claims that doing intercourse on such a gap is okay. And Andrew Wilson annihilates her entire narrative as she melts down on the whatever podcast. Let's jump in.
Question for the table. Should a 40-year-old be allowed to purchase 18-year-olds of content? If yes, why can't they be in a relationship?
Yes, they should. That's their choice as long as they're providing consent.
Watching online content has nothing to do with building a life with someone.
It's huge difference.
What if you don't want to build a life, you just want to date them for fun?
Okay, is it predatory thing. You're still implicating yourself.
Question.
You're still putting these two lives together and...
For the woman who's actually against the age gap relationships for you, what would you prefer to see for an 18-year-old woman? For her to, in her sexual empowerment, to be a sex worker, and the men who are procuring her services, say they are in their 30s or 40s or 50s, or for her to be in a loving monogamous relationship with a man who's 10 or 15 years older than her? Which of the two would you prefer to see? Or is less predatory?
I think that the sex worker would be in a less predatory situation, but I don't necessarily believe that all 18-year-olds should be sex workers, right?
That's not what I'm asking.
Well, I know, but that question is kind of unfair to my ideology and like what I believe.
Okay, well, let me rephrase it a different way. Let's say that you had a best friend, okay, that you grew up with, and she hits 18, and she's told you her whole life all she wants to do is be a stay-at-home mom. That's it. She wants to start having kids the second she can. She's done with high school. That's her fucking dream, man.
Okay.
You live in a small town, okay? And she's coming to you for advice, and she sits down with you, and she's like, look, I've looked around, and all the guys who are around my same age, they're all fucking fuckboys. They're just out there having sex with everyone. They don't want to settle down, right? What a bunch of fuckers. They don't have any jobs really, and they have no real prospects. But Chuck over there is 31, and he's handsome, and he wants a wife, and he wants to give me my babies, and he's going to take care of me forever, right? What do you think? What would you advise her to do? Would you advise her to A, fuck your dream, hook up with the fuckboys, right? Or would you advise her, you know what? You should probably marry Chuck, if that's what your dream is.
I wouldn't advise her to play with the fuckboys.
Of course not.
I don't think that's going to bring her any kind of joy or happiness. But I wouldn't be encouraging her to get married right away either.
No, but that's what she wants. That's her dream. That's all she's wanted.
If she was my friend, I would advise her, like, date this man for at least a couple years before you get engaged.
So therefore, date older man, much older man. So therefore, age gap gone.
But again, for me...
So hang on. So you would advise her to date the much older man, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
But again, back to my the original reason I am against age gap relationships isn't necessarily in the laying the choice and the power of the younger person. I believe it's the responsibility of the older person to not date somebody inappropriately younger than them.
Yeah, but hang on. Do you see the problem though? If you're giving her the advice to date him, right? Then you're basically ceding to the fact that the reason she wants to is because he's more powerful, more wise, has more money, is more established, is all of those things that she's looking for in order to have a family at that young of an age. So if you're advising her to do that, you're ceding that she needs to be in a dynamic where the more powerful guy has all the leverage in order to achieve what she wants.
You gave me two choices.
Yes, that's correct.
If I actually had a choice in the matter, I would advise her to just wait. I would say wait. I would say.
So wait. So crush your dreams. You're gonna crush your best friend's dreams.
You don't have to crush your dreams.
Not all men are what you described as well.
Dating is
just in her local area. They are.
Oh, that's not like true to real life.
No, yeah, that's real true to real life.
There's not one.
In the local area, let's say the local area, it's like population 6,000.
I used to date older men, and my more mature, kind ones were the ones that ended up being closer to me.
Were you in a massive city? Probably.
Define massive.
Big urban, sprawling urban population. Somewhere?
Yeah, I live in San Diego.
Okay, huge, massive fucking city, San Diego. So the thing is like,
relative.
if you're talking about population 7,000.
You can also leave your town and not just settle. But
true, but perhaps you have other responsibilities in your town. Perhaps mom is sick, or perhaps you don't want to move away from your family. Perhaps you love the small town life. You just want to have some babies. Right?
Yeah, isn't she a loser for wanting those?
Is she some kind of piece of shit for wanting that?
What a boring bitch.
Of course not. And if she marries this guy and starts having the babies, what the fuck did she do wrong?
I think she's at a higher risk of being taken advantage of or manipulated or abused.
See,
that is my main argument with age gap relationships.
This to me feels backwards, because it would seem to me that if she was out partying with the fuckboys, her chances of like getting SA'd, her chances of getting...
But I'm not arguing for that either.
Yeah, but...
I'm not arguing for her to go fuck the fuckboys.
But here's the thing. If she's dating people around her own age... and they're fuckboys, because most men...
I mean, you're assuming that.
Are you saying right now that most men in their 18 to 20s are not, like, playing the field a bit?
Yeah, sure, they're playing the field, but I'm not going to categorize 18 to 25-year-olds as fuckboys, because there's plenty of people that age.
I do have to move on.
Okay, I'm saying that they're playing the field. That's the point.
My only other thing to you is about the age gap is if men were only attracted to older, financially stable, educated women, how many people would be on this earth? And then second of all, who would buy your OnlyFans if that was their requirement for attraction?
Okay, again, I'm not advocating for men to like marry older women or something like that. It's, again, my main gripe with age gap relationships is when an older person, regardless of their gender, dates somebody, 15 years plus younger than them. That's my like gripe with it, because there is a natural power imbalance, and when you get into like a marriage, there can be a lot of abuse, both mentally, emotionally, physically. I am on a lot of stuff. I've been on Reddit for like over 15 years.
Yeah, that's your first problem.
No, but Reddit has a lot of different subreddits, right?
Oh, God.
And they're mostly full of fucking crazy lunatics who make shit up.
They don't go outside.
No, there's actually a varied amount of people. There's red pill people, there's liberal people.
There's like nobody.
And there's people making shit up all the time.
Okay, and a lot of the made up stories get called out in the comments, because you can there's tells that you can find when there's made up stories.
I think we would all like love your point more if your point also included sex
you're like
workers.
Redditor 2384 who's like, hey,
I'm speaking on everyone.
It's like Redditor 1846 who's like, hey, age gap relationships are bad.
A feminist who is a Redditor is crazy. I mean, what kind of lunacy is this dumb chick expressing? She doesn't advocate for age gap relationships, yet banging with that age gap matters somehow. This level of delusion is crazy. Newsflash. This 15-year gap or so, or 10-year gap, has been a thing for centuries. Centuries. Obviously within age to procreate. Let's continue.
And she's a sex worker. She could consent to having a 50-year-old client.
But we're not talking about a romantic relationship.
She's not involving herself
about age gap relationships with romance,
and or
not
romantic relationship. They're still being chivalrous to you. They're still being men. You're exposing your body to them. You are putting yourself into you are I'm not saying romantic. I know your sex work isn't romantic, dude. What I'm trying to say is you are, regardless, still putting yourself into a vulnerable position in front of these older men. It doesn't matter that you're a sex worker. It doesn't make you smarter. It didn't build your brain. It didn't turn you 25. That man is still taking advantage of you under these guidelines of age.
Now, there's special sex worker pixie dust that they sprinkle on a 22-year-old. They're like, here's some sex worker pixie dust.
The interaction and the complication of that relationship is going from this zero. There's like so little complication in a professional interaction like that, which in some cases is zero interaction because they're just buying a video online.
Yeah, but you're missing.
That's not affecting you other than your wallet.
That's the point that you're missing, though.
Being in a real relationship affects you.
The point,
in every
yes. So if it's they're coming back to the 21 and 45-year-old.
Here, I'll show you. Well, her argument is at 22, if you're a prostitute, there's not sex worker pixie dust that's just sprinkled on you that suddenly makes you super competent in even having chosen to be a sex worker to begin with. How can you be competent enough to choose what man's penis gets to enter you for money, but you're not competent but you're not competent enough to choose which one can take you out to fucking dinner? That's insane to me. That's literally fucking crazy.
It's not taking out to dinner. It's forming a whole relationship.
It's crazy to trust a man that you just met over a man that you've been dating for a longer time. Like clients,
we don't trust them.
Like, what's the
We
difference?
don't trust them.
Good,
We
then
don't
say
trust them,
that.
and we get there.
But you guys keep going.
We build trust.
Okay, so
over
does
time.
a relationship. Does that
That's building a
too.
relationship.
And then it's
I
also
built trust in a relationship that turned around and fucked my life up.
A friendship
I
is a
also want to
relationship.
clarify, like, are we, because when we're talking about the 21-year-old sex worker and the 45-year-old man, are we talking about a dom or are we talking about an OnlyFans
We're just talking
model?
about a guy who's paying a chick money to sleep with her.
Can I finish my sentence? Or are we talking about a professional,
A hooker.
a prostitute?
Let's just say a
those
hooker.
are all very different things.
Let's just say a hooker.
Okay, so the hooker is having what? One sexual experience with this 45-year-old man and then he leaves her life.
No, she has routine sexual experiences with him because he really likes
Okay,
it.
so we're talking about a regular
or
client.
he's a random
that's spending-
man that you should
that's
not
spending-
trust.
That's spending at least what? Maybe 2 hours max with her?
And
2 to 3 hours a
as
week?
a provider, you are in control of that scenario with that older man.
Do you
You are the one
Yes.
in control.
Yes.
So that control imbalance gets completely swapped.
Shifted.
But you're looking at it backwards. So again, let me give you the argument. The argument is not whether or not this 45-year-old, you're seeing him less than if you were dating him. The argument is, how are you at 21 or 22? How do I assume that you have the capacity to let a 45-year-old man
not.
come and give you hundreds of dollars to fuck you, but I don't think you have the capacity to choose to date him? That is
I'm not
mind-bogglingly
saying you
fucking
don't have
crazy
the
to me.
capacity to choose to date him.
Exactly.
Again, I'm going to repeat myself for the
Exactly.
5th time.
Yeah.
It is in the responsibility of the older person, regardless of their gender, to not date somebody inappropriately, like younger than them. You keep putting the power
he can
back
fuck
and the
him.
choice back into the younger person.
Yes.
But I don't think that it's up to the younger person to be like, oh, am I immature enough to date
Is there
this
anything
person?
wrong with that 45-year-old man fucking that 22-year-old?
That's a professional. It's
Even if it wasn't
Talking
professional.
about professionally or
Even if
not
it's not
professional?
professionally.
Is there anything wrong with it? There might be some shit wrong with it.
there's
Yeah.
any emotional
There
connection
might be some
even
shit wrong with it.
between
Yeah,
that?
What?
we're not
What's wrong with it?
disputing that.
What is it?
She may not be at that professional level to be making that choice. But
So we're
but
back to
she's
magical
there.
hooker pixie
But
dust.
She's there. She's there.
We just
and that
keep on
might-
going
It's
back to
not
magical hooker
magical
pixie dust.
pixie
and that
dust.
might implicate her, and that might cause some shit to go down. But that's also life, and she will learn from that situation.
I think you can have boundaries
She can
in your
learn
sex
from
work.
an age gap
Yes.
relationship.
Yeah, and
And
again, there's nothing.
They can be respected,
Nothing wrong
and you
with
can
that,
work
exactly.
with them.
I didn't.
Yes.
There's.
But
There's-
you also have
depends on it.
boundaries in relationships, and
Yes.
people
There's no-
I can
respect
at least
have
accept
consent
that.
to that.
Right?
I can at least accept that when you caveat it and say there could be something wrong with
Yeah.
it. Sure. I'm always willing to take the caveat that some age gap relationships are going to be bad. I just want that caveat to extend to all relationships.
It does.
Yeah, exactly. So there's nothing inherently about the age gap that's bad. That's the point.
I wasn't against the age gap.
I know, which is why I wasn't arguing
there are
with
certain
you.
things- but
You
there
kept
are
jumping in to
certain
argue with me.
things- No, because there are certain things that I do agree with her point. I'm just not anti-age gap,
Right.
like as a whole.
For those reasons, which makes sense.
I mean, not Exactly. I just think that we have a free choice, and whether or not it ends up panning out well for us is another story.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
There was never any disagreement on that.
No, yeah.
The disagreement was only on this side.
I do also want to add that as a femdom, if you're a 21-year-old femdom, it's not like you just decide one day, I'm a pro now, I'm going to have all these sessions. No, it's something that you do have to educate yourself on. You do have to have some experience. Otherwise, you are potentially putting someone in danger.
Okay, but isn't it the case that would be the same thing with dating? That you're going to need experience, and experience over time is going to lead you to making better choices?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Which is exactly why I'm against age gap relationships, because of the experience.
Yeah, but thing is like a 30-year-old man can have as little dating experience as a 22-year-old woman.
True.
So,
That's
you know,
possible.
like, to me, it's so silly because you're not actually saying there's a problem with the age gap. You just look at other contributing factors which could be present in any relationship, and then pointing to it as though in an age gap that's assured. And
It is.
It's not.
It is.
What thing is assured in an age gap no matter what that would not
That the
be...
older
hang on,
person-
stop.
Okay.
What would be assured in an age gap no matter what that would not be assured by people who, you know, are the same exact age, in fact, who are dating? What would be assured?
Wait, I'm sorry.
What would be a thing where this person's 15 years older, so it's 100% certain that it will be this way, that will not be present in a same age relationship?
Probably income.
Not probably. What will be?
Emotional maturity. Income and emotional maturity.
Neither of those things are assured in an age gap relationship, are they?
You naturally have more negative and positive life experiences as an older person that you learn
Hang on,
from.
but that doesn't mean you're more experienced. And so this is the problem, right? It's like, you cannot assure me that in an age gap relationship, those factors will not be there any more than you can assure me they will be there in a same age relationship. So it's always pointing to, if these factors are there, it's bad. I would just argue back, sure, but if they're there for same age, it's also bad. Right?
All this yapping and she couldn't answer 3 questions from Andrew Wilson. Incredible. This is what happens when individuals like her can vote. Well, aside from voting, given free will to speak when back then they couldn't, and now it makes perfect sense why. Like, it's more than obvious that these women don't understand that men and women aren't equal at all. If they were, then why can women get sexual access a lot quicker and a lot easier than men can? Why is it that men nowadays can barely get into a relationship after 25? If you know the answer to these questions, comment down below. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, comment down below, share your thoughts, and we will catch you on the next one.